Okay, so we're gonna dive into recruiting. All right, so I want to start off by going through PRs, and this is actually, you know what? Let me just match the TV to my computer. So we're gonna walk through in a different training. I know yesterday was a busy day. I don't know if we got to finish the timeline for PRs. Okay. Okay, so we'll walk through. I'll give you guys general, and we'll have a specific staff meeting to go specifically through that. But I want to talk about just in general, there's two components of the PR program, okay? So the first component is the actual is the traditional, okay? And traditional is just when people give a mass amount of names and then you contact those. Back in the day, we contacted those via mass calling. Like last year, I had 14 callers, and we just go through and call all the people that were recommended. And this year, we did less callers. We still had, I had 4 people, but we changed it. Let's go here, where we had just the top people's list we called, and the rest we sent them through a new texting system. Where the company does that for us. So basically, all the rest of the names are just sent in, and this is still like traditional. Instead of calling, they were just getting a text that says, hey, you were recommended for a job, it has a link that they could learn about it. So we are sending that. So that's like our traditional program. It's just calling, and there's different versions. Like I do, I know Lorena likes to double tap and text, meaning she calls again. If they don't pick up, shoots them a text. Say your friend recommended you, let me know if you want more details. And so when she's doing traditional. So again, we're just doing that to about the top 30% of our names. You could do it to the top half. The branches, I told them to keep 150 names for them to personally contact and submit the rest into their system. But it'll work different ways. And pull this up here, all right? Does this go any bigger? It's like miniature, all right? So traditional though is just we're contacting mass amount of names and just seeing, you know, who wants to check it out. Something that I do with traditional is I ask them once they upload 250 names, 400 names, I'll say, hey, Zyla, real quick, I'm not going to have a chance to call all 400, but if you want to write down your top 30 here, I can definitely contact those people. So I'll give her a sheet so she could write down during training who the top 30 are. So Zyla, Deb, that's something that I would be doing, is having them write down from their big mass list. So that was them just uploading using the PR app to upload names. Then what happens is we have the rep driven. All right, rep driven means it's driven by the representative. All right, they're helping in the process. There's different components of this. There's social, right? What can we do for social? Snapchat, all right? They take a snap and they should send it individually to people. You know, they could put one on their story. Those disappear in a day, but they could do it. There's Twitter. What else? Facebook. Instagram, Facebook. I'd say Instagram. But they post a picture, post something up, and just like, hey, my job has some openings we're looking to fill, whatever, and then like hit me up for details. So keep it basic, keep it general. But those are things they can do. What else can they do to get people? So there are posts. What else can you do? Or the snaps, you can do the individual message. All right, what else?
Through social media, or just
with social media. Always it. Yeah, private messaging on Instagram, private messaging through Facebook. Like actually sending a private message are ways that you can get more people.
Any group chat that you have, you can ask a friend of a friend.
Okay. You can message, but those private messages, what are other ways besides social that people can get?
Get on Tinder and every person you swipe right.
What else?
Yeah,
let's go. What else?
Place of worship. You can talk to all the parents that their kids are looking for a job.
By the way, this is an awesome thing, is having teachers or parents. One of my guys did this in Miami, and we got some great people, is having a mom post on Facebook and say, my son's job has openings for the fall. Yeah, and if they say if any of your kids are 17 to 25 and looking for some meaningful experience, contact my son blank.
Tell
and
them
they
this is
tag you.
Jonas.
Because on Facebook is more 30 to 60-year-olds is the biggest, Macs are the biggest market on Facebook. Like it's my age group. Like that's the biggest amount of people. It's like late 20s to like late 50s, really. Like that's the biggest amount of people that are on Facebook. Your guys' generation a lot now is more, it went from that to Instagram, and then now the past 2 years it's Snapchat, Yeah, Twitter's always been there. But just in terms of social. So having parents put up, what are other, so write these down. So we've got social, then putting social posts. What are other things they can do? So we said parents, putting up something on Facebook saying, hey, my son's job has some openings. If your kids like, or you can give them like something to post up, you can give them that. What are other ways for reps to get? Well, that's more active advertising, which we're talking about. I'm saying if a rep wants to get PRs, you're helping. Your rep on your team wants to hit the cruise, and they're like, all right, how do I get people? And they want to. So they already uploaded all their friends, right, in training. That was traditional, all right. And now we're doing rep driven. What are additional things we can do? So we said social. All right, what else? Parents putting on social. What else?
I was gonna kind of half answer, half kind of ask. My mom actually works in the office at our high school, so I was wondering like if I could ask her if like I could put up something. Like
Get it on the announcements at school.
Yeah. By the way, we have had schools do that and post on the announcement like, hey, there's openings. It's more general website, not specifically you. Right, we have posters for general. What I would say would be a better thing is, can they arrange something where you can go talk to the OJT class or, the job training class or whatever, or marketing class or the whole assembly, and just like share your experience and maybe do it like a skills for life talk where like, hey, this year as you're going in for the senior year, you want to make sure you're finding things and doing things to set yourself apart. So once you graduate or once you turn 18 or once you graduate, great job that we have available is a college program, and you can share and we can walk you through, but you can actually share with them. But just keys to standing out on their, how they want to stand out on their resume, getting meaningful experience. Like a lot of times they'll do like job fairs and stuff, and they teach people about that.
Yeah.
So I used to help out with different interviewing skills workshops, resume building workshops to help students stand out upon graduation. So that's something that you could do personally if you wanted to. What else can your reps do?
Organizations are a part of this, like fraternities, sororities, clubs, sports, anything like that.
Okay, talk to people from there. What else?
Ask their boyfriend or girlfriend to contact
Their friends?
Yeah.
Okay, boyfriend, girlfriends, friends.
Their family,
What else?
like cousins.
When you sit down with them, something that you can do is have them write down and you can jot this down, but have them write down who are their top 10 friends they think would be really good for this, okay? And have them shoot them a text and go, yo, you got a second? Or hey, I had a question, you have a minute? And then they're like, yeah, what up, Dave? And then you just call them and you're like, yo, my new job has openings, I think you'd be freaking good. I'm here with my manager right now, actually. Do you have a second so he could tell you about what he has available? And then boom, hand it over, and say that they just like hand you the phone. We call those alley-oops, cool? So they literally just get them on the phone and they go, yo, I'm with my boss right now. She's awesome. We have some openings. I thought you would freaking do awesome, but I wanted her to tell you about it. All right, hold on, boom, and just hand the phone over. So when you're sitting in a PC, they might have people. I also look at, because they uploaded all these names. Did we reach all those names? No. All right, so who did we not reach? And I just want to know, who are the people they think would be good? They can just call them and hand the phone over. So that's something that they can do. What else? What's another thing?
Talk to Mrs. Jones on demos.
Okay, yep, they can talk to moms on demos. Chavez has gotten 3 10K fast starters and 1 8K fast starter that came from his demos, like their kid or their nephew that came in.
30.
3.
Oh, 30 something else.
All right.
That would have been something.
What else?
Yeah,
What else?
classroom.
Yep, classroom. So when I was in school, something that I did, and I'll post up in a second, is I actually just had a notebook paper where now we have like a little sign up and it has a little paragraph about it or whatever. So we need to get those pages. Dev, I put that to print. So when we go back to school, everyone has those. But I just used a notebook and it said, anyone looking for part-time cash, scholarships, flexible, college credits, or internships available. And then it had name, number, email. You need to write a name on it. No one likes to be the first one to sign up. But it just said like, put your name past the person next to you, cool. That's You guys can grab one of those or check it out. Just pass it around so you can see it. But I just had it on a notebook, and I just passed it around the class. And by the way, I did that in the classroom next door, and I had my friend do it in the gym in her classroom. I got 7 PRs that started with off of that. I collected like 50 names or something from the 3 classes together. Like one was like 20 something, one was like 17, and one was whatever, like over 10. But I collected over 50 names. And then from those, I ended up having 7 people. 2 were scholarship winners. One of those scholarship winners was my AM the next year when I went to run a branch, which was pretty cool. All right. So that classroom PRs is great. Marissa Kokenauer, one of my girls down south, she was in a class in a school where they had bigger classes. I went to a small private school with like 2,000 total people in my university. She went to a bigger school, and some of her classes were auditoriums that had like 100 people. And one of her classes, she did that. She got 70 people that put their name and number down that wanted jobs. Okay, 70. Another one of our guys did that, Brian Rabbit. He got 50 people from one class, and he brought that in. So those are your people. Those are your PRs. By the way, something else in one of my classes is I talked to the teacher and I said, hey, my job has openings for college kids. They actually work with the schools, showing them the scholarship brochure, show them like the teacher, the people from and I showed her the scholarship brochure. I'm like, oh yeah, they use it at UT, the different schools, but you can compete for scholarships. He's actually one of our students from Houston won a scholarship. But I wanted to see if I could get like a minute to just announce it to the class and let them know. And then, so if anyone wants more information, they can just put their name and number. And my teacher was like, yeah, no problem. And so I did that in front of my class. And I was like, hey, I work with a company that works with college kids, awesome program to develop skills for life, time management, organization, personal skills, whatever. We have some openings. It's really flexible. There's a $16 starting pay. If anybody wants more details, you can put your name and number, and I'll contact you, give you the website and everything so you can check it all out. And you can even put on the sign up, collegeincome.com. But I put their name and number so I could personally follow up with them for them to be my PR. If they're your PR, you're following up with those and you're setting them up for interviews. Cool? It's the only way you're getting PR credit off of those. And that's a way they can get PR credit, or you can help them get PRs. They bring them to you and you can help set those up for them for interviews. Cool? So classroom PRs are a way that they can get people. Also, there's some of the classes you guys take have email, right? So there's what are they called? Blackboard, and there's another one. Canvas. There's one more too. I remember there was another name. I don't know if it's Lone Star or who uses it, but those are ways. So these are things that I had typed out here, and you guys can get creative and look for more. Whoa. All right, so we've got texting, and this is what I was saying, that when you're sitting with them, that they have top people they think would be good. They just go, hey, I'm at work. I have a quick question. Are you available? When they answer, hey, I'm with my manager. She has some openings available. Starting pay $16. A lot of fun. Flexible manager's awesome. I think you'd be really good at it. So you have a second so they can explain it to you, and then boom, pass it over. Alley-oop, pass it to you. All right. Then there's the never reached. So there's people from their list we never got a hold of. So you can show them like, hey, I never got a hold of these people, or grab it. And so they can shoot them a text. And they just go, yo, my job has some part-time, openings they're looking to fill. Awesome resume builder, great income opportunity, super flexible. Let me know if you know anyone who wants more info. And they can just shoot that. And by the way, that's the same message you can send as a private message to people. They can also text their friends or their girlfriend's friends or whoever, even people who weren't interested. I adjusted that with people where it was like, hey, I know you weren't interested. So any of the ones on their list that was like, oh, I'm not interested. If let's say it was your list, JD, and there was people that told me they weren't interested, when I sit with you, I'm like, yo, these people said they weren't interested. Would you be willing to shoot them this text and go, yo, I know you weren't interested in the job, but my job is looking for da-da-da. Let me know if you know anyone. And then sometimes they're like, well, actually, and I had reps that I got top reps that came from like a not interested list that their friend then texted them, and they're like, well, actually, what is it? And they called them, got them on the phone, and passed them over to me, and we alley-ooped them. And then I've had others where they were like, oh, my girlfriend actually needs a job. We were able to get people through that. So that's something that you can do. Then again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any social media posting. These are, private messages. Says directly at that person. Indirect, this is something one of my girls used to do with a lot of her friends who knew the job. She had worked with us for several years, but she was like, hey, I need a favor. I'm working so hard to win a contest. I've asked a few friends of mine to help me out by putting a status on their Facebook. Looks good on my resume, helps me stand out for internship. Would you be willing to post on your Instagram or whatever? your reward, good karma, winky face, you know. But she just like would send out her friends and they're like, oh yeah. And then she'd give them what to say. So that's another way. And then it says like if they shoot back questions, like what to say, if they're interested, what to do. Then you have campus recruits. You know, do you know anyone that might be looking for a resume builder? And we actually have our face-to-face approach, so we can show you guys that. But there's the Get Campus sign-up sheet and pass around the classroom, which is money. I got a bunch of 7 PRs off of that, which is pretty sweet. If you guys get 7 PRs and they hit their first promotion, you're coming on the cruise with us, you know? So that's pretty baller. So get your PRs in, get your PERS in. So we did for this month, for the transition month right now for August, and for us, we're gonna do it August, September, all right? So the transition into the fall. If you just have 5 that hit their first promotion, you're coming on the cruise, cool? So just so you guys know that. So cruise is gonna be freaking awesome, so you guys wanna get your butts there.
Wait, so you mean just for August and September? So
Correct.
like the summer campaign that we had?
The summer, I mean, the summer was 10. So if you get to 10 by August 28th, then yes. I'm saying if you get 5 between August and September, you're going. Cool. So you got all the campus to go crazy with, all right? School email blast is another. So this is what I was saying is with your email or whatever, if already somebody from your class, and this is where, let's say you have the same class, Raj, that Zyla does. Zyla sends the email out, you're gonna get it because you're in the class, you're gonna get that email. You can't send it too. So it's kind of first come, first serve on the email blast. All right, we want to respect the students. We don't want them getting the same email from 5 different peoples. That's like super scam, all right? So please don't do that. But you know, if David does it first, and Raj, you get it, and you're like, ah, shoot, like I'm in that class, and he already got it, he got it. So 1 email blast per class, all right? You take out the teacher from the group, and it says, good afternoon. Reason I'm randomly writing you is because the company I've been working for is looking to bring on some people this fall. Starting pay, ours is $16 and goes up from there. Schedules are flexible. I thought I'd write because UH students have done really well with us in the past. I think you could do really well too. And you could delete that or not, but we just have it in there. Shoot me a message if you're looking at automating some cash a semester. Hope you have a great semester. All right, so you can adjust that how you'd like, but that's an example of something that someone had sent out. Got a ton of PRs that way as well. All right, then it says how to have a check it out convo with no shows or old potential PRs. So if you have your old list, you personally can do this, and you can have reps do this with theirs. Like if they really want to win the trip, I mean, it's not, it just takes like, just do it, you know, like there's ways to do it. We have so many people through social and campus, but we just have to sit and do it. So it says, hey, I know you were scheduled for an interview before, I know you were training. So I go through like no shows. You guys can pull up Vector Live. All right. And you can pull up Vector Live and go through who didn't show up to interviews, who didn't show up to training. Is that beeping? Okay, can you open the microwave, please? So you can go through who were the no-shows, and you can send them a message and just letting them know or calling them to at least check it out. Then you have siblings, Facebook. You said boyfriend, girlfriends, their friends. You can see that. Is that hot water? I don't know if that's his or for me. Then siblings Facebook. It has your make t-shirts, car paint, sodas, and my guys like put car paint on their window in the back of like the website. Dorm building or at the apartments and stuff, putting stuff there, making your own posters. So you can, you know, make sure to approve them with us so we can see them. And then obviously you guys can help with campus advertising. And if you're actively doing face-to-face recruiting, which we'll go through, those people will count as your PRs as well. If you guys are helping us actively, like you're recruiting them and you set them up, like those are your people, right? And it's your job to like work with them and develop them, okay? So that's something that you guys have in the packet that that you got in the email. So you got that. You got PRPC. We're going to go through PR approach. This is when you're sitting down with a representative, all right, to help them get PRs. And so it says PR rep priority. So this is going on Vector Live and looking to see who was scheduled for interviews or training, shooting good luck, people who were no-shows, what to say to them, finding PR lists, texting people who didn't pick up, people that weren't interested. So this just goes through different things, posting status on their own social, asking family to post for them, close family to post for them, messaging friends. So I call these PRPCs, and then using Blackboard or Angel to post an email blast. But when you sit down to like meet with someone, and you can schedule literally a PRPC, like I want to go on the cruise garage, like, all right, let's sit down and help them get all this stuff done so we can help them get more PRs in, all right? And you guys can do this with each other first to practice and get things moving, all right? So we've got in here, so we've got alley-oop verbiage, which was on the other sheet. This is just a big paper with it, okay? So it just says like, help us win you the cruise, shoot text, hey, I'm at work right now, have a question, are you available? Then they just tell you something about them, and then they say what we said earlier. Cool, and they hand the phone over. So you just have a bigger paper. I know, Deb, we had these printed out and laminated before in our office. We had a bunch of them, and they like disappeared through the years. But we had these laminated because those were just easy because someone would get them on the phone. They would just read straight off of that. I know it's on the pink paper, but I liked having these bigger ones laminated with just like help us win you the cruise for alley-oops. So that's something that we had before. So it's in there. Then this is a PR approach, which we'll go through here in a moment. This is advanced PR approach. This is just, if you guys want to look through, I gave a talk some years back, 5 years back, to the entire company on maximizing this, because this is our program, by the way. This is our company now. Like, it's all our best people. You know, the majority of our best people are all recommended by somebody. I mean, this has been for the past 9 years, 10 years. It's been building. In the last 5 years, it's like our business. But for me, like over 70% of my sales has been created through people who are recommended to the job. You know, that I believe that's what's helped us win all of our championships. That's what's helped us start in different places. And that's what we always see in the top offices. When you look at Gordon's office, when you look at even the guy who's #1, Andrew down in Miami, who won the Silver Cup last year, he has a killer PR program. And that's what we grew up in, you know, over there. That's all that I knew was that PR program. So this outlines just like maximizing like all the different things you can do to get more PR, so you can go through that, and we'll have a more, but that's just to have a better understanding of like the program. But really right now it's like you have enough tools. We're going to go through like how to talk to people to get those set up. This is text, and actually we'll probably, I didn't look at that. I think I send this in the whole folder, but we're not really using that anymore because this year we started the new text program, which National's doing. So this is before we had the national texting. So we have something called Conveyor. That's where we send them to now, and the company texts them for us. Last year we had to text them ourselves, all the names. So now it's great because we just send them in and they get texted. So you don't need the text program anymore because now it's a national text program, which is, yeah, it's freaking awesome. So I love it. This is a tracker, which some of you guys have used, and I have it in here that just has like name, referred by. So when you're sitting calling PRs, many times we printed that on the back of the actual PR calling tracker, which some of you guys have used as phone item trackers in our office, right? So that we usually printed those on the back of each other. So when people were calling PRs, they could track them and they could write down whoever they set up. You could write it anywhere, but that was something that Lorena had wanted and the girls used.
Can we do ads like in things? So like we have this program in our playbills for our shows where people can buy ads to put in the playbills. Can we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like I could give you a form from my director and give it to you.
Yeah, it just depends on how much they are. Sometimes I don't want to spend money on it,
Yeah.
and sometimes I do.
Well, like the smallest one we have is like $25. Like some are cheap and some are expensive. So
Cool.
I'll give that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So school newspapers, ads, like high schools have stuff, colleges, you know, have papers, and those are all additional ways that you can get more recruits. So for sure. And if they're cheap, I have no problem investing into them. You know, some are very expensive and I don't want to. So PR, phone variation. So the PR approach is always the same. Like, I mean, you're doing the same thing. This is just like how you're leading into it, right? So traditional, what does traditional mean? Mass names that were, it's the training names, cool? Like in training, they like uploaded their phone, cool? So traditional has your, hey, I work with your friend over at a job, should I be calling? Oh, okay, well, hey, I noticed out of blue, we're looking to fill some positions, whatever, it's normal, which is on your PR approach. Then this is for a friend who no longer works with us. Maybe you're calling someone's list from the summer that doesn't work here anymore. So you're like, hey, I know your friend blank worked with us last summer or this past summer or last month. Hey, the reason I'm calling is because he had recommended you for positions. We're actually looking to fill some positions now and thought we'd give you a quick chat with more information. And then it goes into, you go into the PR approach. If you do a phone switch, I know like this is like Lorena's most favorite thing ever in Val, and some people like love phone switch, some people do, some people don't. I love doing phone switch. You'll get some like crazy responses, like because they think it's their friend calling them. So it would be like if I was like, yo, Ricky, I want to call through your list. I was like, can we just switch phones? Because I'm gonna like, they don't know my freaking number, and like they're all gonna pick up if it's like, they're more likely to pick up if it's their friend calling them than a random number. It's like, cool, we switch phones, so I could just call your 20 people real quick from your phone. And you're like, yeah. And so we'll switch phones, and so you can keep doing phone tag, and I'll call through Ricky's list, so they'll be like, yo, what up? You know, and some of them have picked up like very inappropriate, not Ricky's people, but people I've called, and they're just like, what up, ma? And they like say stuff, or like, they just say funny things, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't Noah. I'm like, it's actually his manager. And like, I'm like, no, it's cool. I'm like, he's actually here working at the office, and he had recommended you for a job, and he just gave me your phone to call you.
Like, damn, so cool.
All right. But that's what you're doing. So with this, you're like, hey, I know you're expecting. I'm like, she actually gave me their phone because they're in a meeting. We're actually just calling because we had some openings available. He thought you'd be a good fit. Then alley-oop is what? When they just hand the phone over to you. So you're like, hey, how are you? I won't take too much of your time. You know, Shiv said you might be good for what we have here, so I asked him to just give you a call. And he said he knew you from blank, and then you keep going. Clipboard, what is Clipboard? When you're on campus collecting names. You guys might walk through the cafeteria. You might be helping out. You might be at a table. And so you're like, hey, do you know anyone that might be looking for part-time work? So I remember when I used to go to campus, I went from table to table to table to table of people eating during lunch. And I was like, hey, do you guys know anyone that might be looking for part-time work this fall? You know, and people would be like, maybe, what is it? You know, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, huge student programs, da, da, da. But that's how I'd get a ton of names on clipboarding. And I showed Austin something I said to do that. It's freaking money. So we're gonna walk through that. That's the face-to-face, by the way. So we do that with a clipboard on campus, but you can do that face-to-face anywhere. So when you call them, you're like, hey, this is so-and-so regarding the student work opportunities. We're on campus earlier today at UH. You had put your name and number, someone who's, and they're like, oh yeah, what's up, you know? So ideally you're calling your own. Post-interview, right? Hey, you don't personally know me. Your friend just came in for a job interview. She was accepted for the position. And then, you know, Facebook or social media. So by the way, this is all common sense, but you know, sometimes people get nervous, like, well, what do I say to this person? I'm like, you just let them know how you got their name. But this has an outline for each person, just like how you intro into it. Because basically, just like a phone approach, those who have been through my SLDMs, I talk about there's 4 parts to the phone approach, right? The first thing is what? The initial hook. That's this. It's like who you are, right? Like, hey, it's Kathy, whatever, you know, like, so it's like who you are, like why you're calling. And then the second thing is like what you're doing. So like, oh, I'm working with a company called Clipboard. So in this case, the second part for PRs is what the job, like why you're calling, right? And then like what the job is, and then setting them up for a time. So we're gonna walk through that with the approach. But this is the first part, which is just the initial hook, which will change depending on what kind of PR you're calling. Was it from an interview? Was it from campus? Did they hand you the phone? Were you calling a traditional list? Were you calling an old list? Were you calling someone that came off Facebook? That's all this is. Everyone good? Any questions? All right, cool. So you guys have that. It was sent over to you. Then the next thing that's here, we already went over that. This is rep-driven approach. All right, and then we'll go through the regular. So this is an old, I don't know why we have both of the approaches here. It's same thing, but when somebody, this is what I basically use for like all my calls, the rep-driven approach. And when this is like someone hands a phone, you're just like, hey, how's your day going? Hey, I won't take too much of your time. Trying to say you'd be a good fit. And that's why I did the other thing, because you can use the same PR approach for everything, just change the beginning, you know? And it's whatever you feel comfortable. If you want one more scripted, I have the more scripted. If you're more like chat and whatever, I have that as well, you know? So there's the 2, but it still has the objectives of what you want to meet. This is a PR rep-driven script that was Andrew Smallwood's that we got on 5 years ago, and so mine evolved from this. But you're just like, oh, hey, well, you know, I won't take too much of your time. Johnny said you'd be a good fit what we had, so I asked him to give you a call. Hey, currently we're looking to fill some part-time positions with a $16 starting pay. We have extremely flexible hours, great school perks, and we award 100 scholarships a year. Students can earn college credit. So since Shiv had recommended you, I'd love to set up a time for you to come in and meet with one of our assistant managers. And you basically just set them up, you know, like that was the rep-driven. Because this is like, you're at a team meeting, people are like, oh, I have my friend, like get them on the phone. You know, like anyone who responds to their social, response to their Snapchat, like get them on the phone. And they're literally just handing it off to you. And it's a quick boom, 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 set them up for an interview. All right. So that's here. So if you want to use that, and it's really just comfort, because you guys have seen, like in your manual, right? You have the acquaintance approach. You have for calling, there's a scholarship approach. You know, some people use that, some people don't. It's the same objectives. Like, who are you? What are you doing? Here's what we're looking for. Set up a time, you know, is what we're doing with the PR approach. So I want to walk you guys through, and we're going to practice the full PR approach so you guys can see the full PR approach. So this says Kathy, this one, Kathy PR approach. All right. And this is full with detail. And the reason this is in italics here is that sometimes when you're chatting with people, you don't even have to go over that. And then if they ask, what is it? You could go back to it. You know, so when I'm in a rush, the rep driven, what you guys just saw, doesn't have the description. Did you guys see that? It doesn't have, that's what it, like, it just doesn't have the description. So when you're doing traditional, you want to use the description usually. When you're doing rep driven and they're handing you the phone, like, you don't even need to cover it unless they ask you. All right. So the first part of the PR approach is the initial, like, you know, the reason you're calling them. So you're just like, oh, hey, Gray, this is Kathy. I actually work with your friend Ricky at his job. How are you? You know, how's everything going? He's like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, all right, good to hear. Well, hey, and if you know something about them, you say it. I'm like, oh, Ricky said that you're there, and you tell them whatever you know about them. You love, like, little puppies and, you know, whatever. So you tell them something, and if you don't know anything, then you don't say anything. But when I have them, so Zyla in training, when I tell them, hey, write down your top 30, I usually tell them, hey, write down like a fun fact or something about them, because that way, like, it helps me connect with them better when I call them. Like, I know something about them.
That's on the sheet.
I used to have a sheet that had name, number, fun fact.
We use that again now.
Cool. I hadn't seen them in a while, but I love those. That way you know something about them. So I'm like, well, hey, the reason I'm speaking with you is we have some positions available and we're conducting interviews this week to fill some of those. So I asked, so it's either the manager asked or I asked, all right? Be as personal as you can. If it's you, be like, oh yeah, I asked Johnny if she knew anyone that might be a good fit for us, and she mentioned you. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, so just want to ask you a couple questions, say a little about us, and if things sound good, set you up for a time to meet with a manager. That way you can sit with them, learn all the details of the position. Sound good? I'm like, yeah. Now you're at least 17 and graduated. All right, if they're in high school, we have to hold their application until they turn 18. Cool. So every week, every month, like, we're gonna have people turning 18. We already have a list from the summer, so we're gonna be getting those guys launched out.
They're 18, they can't.
Correct. They have to be 17 and graduated, or if they're in high school, they need to be 18.
Okay.
Cool. So as they're turning 18, we'll be able to launch those guys out. So find out, you know, you're at least 17 and graduated, and they're like, oh no, I'm still in high school. I'm like, oh, when do you turn 18? You're like, well, you can come in for the interview if you want, and then we'll just hold, be like, you actually can't train until you turn 18. All right. Then you're like, oh, you're currently working, and they're like, oh yeah. If so, wear comment, like, chat with them, and you're like, oh, I like it. What do you do? Da, da, da. So this is your time to build rapport with them. Cool. So this is rapport. So first, it's like why you're calling, then you're building rapport, and then you're setting up an interview in most cases. Sometimes the fourth part that we skipped is job description. All right. So why you're calling, building rapport, job description, sometimes no, set them up for a time. Cool. Those are the parts of your PR approach. So here, like chatting with them, like, oh, so where are you working? No, this is your time to chat. Oh, are you taking classes? Oh, how do you like that? You know, you're just chatting with them about that. Build rapport. That's all you're doing. They come in because they're like, you seem really cool. You know, their friend works there. Yeah, I'll come check it out, you know. And then making sure in whatever order, and I highlighted these because it might come out when you're talking with them and they go, oh, I'm studying X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh, it's awesome. And you might say, oh, you know, like, actually one of our guys who won a scholarship, he's studying that too, or whatever. And you're just like, yeah, we give scholarships. Like, oh, really? Yeah. And what are you doing with, you know, and you're chatting, but you always want to make sure you talk about how we have flexible schedules. They can earn scholarships. They can compete for scholarships, and they can earn college credits. Cool. Those are things that you want to make sure as you're building rapport, you always talk about. If we build awesome rapport, just so you guys know, if you hear me calling PRs, 99.9% of the time, I go straight to, hey, well, you sound great over the phone. And I go right to setting them up for a time. Cool? That's where most of my calls go. Now, if you being newer and you want to go through the description, go through it. I just go through it if they ask me, oh, well, what is it? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know if she told you or not, but the name of the company is Vector. So you can just do it being new. Totally to you. I'm just saying you'll feel as you get, and some of you guys are managers who have done this, and you know they're all like, oh yeah, I want to come in. Like just talking about scholarships, college credit. They're like, yeah, when can I come? You know, it's like there's no need to even go through the description. We're gonna go over that when they come in. Like we already know they want to come in. What's the objective? Get them in for an interview. Cool. So if they're like, yeah, when do you want to do it? It's like if you called Miss Jones and you're like, oh yeah, I'm calling because Julie said you could help me. And she's like, oh, the cool. Yeah, when do you want to come? Do you need to do your whole phone approach? No, schedule time, right? Same thing. That's what I'm saying here. Is that if they're like, oh yeah, let's go. Like you just go right to the star. Hey, you sound great over the phone, and you just book them. Cool. If it's just kind of like, you know, quiet, like let them know what it is. But, hey, not sure if she told you, but the name of the company is Vector. It's a huge student program. We work with colleges nationwide. Company's been around since 1981. The position you'd be interviewing for is entry-level customer work with flexible schedules and a base fee of $16, which is not based on sales. What you would be doing is working with customers, explaining products, answering questions, and helping them place orders. Do you like working with people? Or maybe you talked about how they were a waiter and they love people already when you're chatting, like, and you love working with people. So I think this will be right up your alley. And again, tons of cool perks if you're a student. And so like, all right, I'm like, so JD, you sound great over the phone. What I'd like to do to invite you in for an interview. That way we can get to know you better and see if you qualify to work with us. Also, you can check us out and make sure the job would be a good fit for you as well. Can you walk me through your schedule, like for school, for work, like if they had another job, you know, like the next couple of days to see if I can make something work, you know, and find that out and be like, hey, and just in case, what does your schedule look like specifically for today and tomorrow? All right. And you pause and you set them for a time. You're like, hey, good news. I actually have a spot open at blank time with Mr. Patel, and I could still squeeze you into. Sounds like that'd be a good time based on both your schedules, right? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, great. Do you have a pen and paper so you can jot down some information, and then we get them set up. All right. So that is the PR approach. And again, that's the full approach. Like you're setting up the demo, your full approach. That's it right there. And if they're just like, oh yeah, I want to come in, they already knew about it, or like when you're building rapport, like, oh, when can I come? You don't need to go through the description. You can just go straight to setting up a time. Cool? So we're going to take right now, and I want to role play this through a couple times. So I want you guys to grab somebody. Archie, I'd love for you to go with Zyla, please. So I want you guys to work together, but grab someone, you guys stand up, and let's go through this like 2 times through as different people, por favor. Role play time. Ready, set, go. I'm gonna start a new one. Then we're gonna go through the other approach, and we're gonna, let's see here. Actually, we're just gonna do this one. So I will stream from another one as we go into face-to-face recruiting after this.